Hello, Unlimited friends. It's Zara back again with Law of Attraction and its practical application to our lives. Today, I want to talk about 4 things that I gave up in order to start creating success using the principles of the Law of Attraction. And I want to share these 4 things with you. When you give up these 4 things, you're going to open up everything for yourself. So before I do so, let me just do a short introduction for everyone who is here for the first time. Hi, I'm Zara Mahoon. I write the blog zmahoon.com. And as a result of applying the principles that I teach in my books, my talks, and my coaching program, people who feel lost or have given up on their dreams are able to find out and deal with their obstacles and their fears and start achieving their personal and business goals. I am looking for people who are ready to transform their lives and bring more peace into their hearts, more love into their lives, and more money in their bank accounts. Who do you know who might need my help? All right, so let's get started. The very first thing that I gave up doing was judging people and using those opinions to contribute towards gossip. People do things and behave in ways that make sense to them based on where they are in their lives. It is not my job to comment on it, to judge them for it, and to gossip about them behind their backs. Because the thing, when you start understanding law of attraction, you understand that if you're talking about someone else's negative characteristic or personality trait or their action, focusing on it brings you to the same vibration as that person. And if that is something that you don't like, you are not in favor of, why would you want to be on that vibration? Because going on to that vibration is going to bring those things into your life. So, for example, if I was going to talk about someone and say, oh my God, they are so careless. Now I am bringing that attitude, the attitude of carelessness, I am now attracting it into my life because it is law of attraction. Whatever you think about, whatever you focus on comes into your life because you put yourself on the same frequency and vibration as that thing, whether it's a behavior, a characteristic, an event. So for example, another example would be that I start talking about someone who hasn't made good on a payment. And I say, how could they not pay me back? I lent them this money and they're not paying me back. What am I doing? Well, I am feeling bad about this. So what I've done is, on the emotional scale, I've gone from the positive side of the emotional scale to the negative side of the emotional scale. And by doing so, I am attracting other people who are going to mistreat me. Because that mistreatment can happen in so many ways, because the treatment that I get from other people corresponds to the vibration on which I spend most of my time. So I don't want to talk about this. In fact, what I want to do is I want to do the reverse. I want to be more forgiving towards that person. So in that example where someone has not returned money that they borrowed from me, I have to start saying things like, I'm sure that they mean to return my money, but they are probably still experiencing difficulties. Once they are done with whatever it is that they need to look after, I am pretty sure that they will return my money. I would not have lent them this money if, first of all, I didn't have it. Number two, if I didn't trust them. And so I'm going to hold on to that feeling of trust. When I talk this way about that same person, it raises my vibration because it takes me closer to a place of love. And when I am able to get to a place of love, then all sorts of good things are going to come into my life. And my life is going to become so good that I won't be concerned at all about the fact that they haven't returned my money. You see, the only reason you are concerned is because you are letting it affect you. And when you start living life from high on the emotional scale, these kinds of things no longer affect you anymore. All right. Number 2, stop listening to negative programming and news. I know a lot of people these days are watching real crime, they are watching reality TV, they are watching news. And a lot of these programs are fear based, and they take you onto a vibration of fear. And fear is right down here at the bottom of the emotional scale. So, understanding that the vibration that you spend a lot of time on, you start manifesting things that correspond to that vibration. And at first, it's not very big, it's small things, like scratching your car or bumping into something and dropping something or hurting yourself. But those kinds, if you continue spending time on that vibration, those things become bigger and bigger and bigger. And why would you want to bring those kinds of things into your life? It doesn't make sense. And so the thing is to get off of that vibration. Don't stay on that vibration. So stop listening to the news. Now, a lot of people, when I talk to them, especially for myself, because my day trade is being a financial advisor, it's like, how can you it's part of the job is to stay in touch with what's going on in the world. But when you start trusting that you have guidance, then you start understanding that the information that you need is going to show up for you. So somehow or the other, I'm always able to keep in touch with that information which is relevant for my well-being, for my ability to do a good job. What you need, the universe knows and will find a way to bring it to you. And when you start experiencing this magic, you become more trusting and knowing, and that just is completely life-changing, because then you start living life from a place of satisfaction instead of living life from a place of fear. All right, and satisfaction is the key. Satisfaction means moving forward without resistance. The third thing that I gave up, and I really had to work on this one, was that I stopped thinking that history repeats itself, because that kind of puts you in a limited space. And when I say history repeats itself, I don't mean, well, although I do mean that as well, but I mean more personal history. Meaning my experience with that person, if they were not nice to me the first time, doesn't mean that they can't be nice to me in the future. You can change each and every relationship in your life if you start becoming open, and if you allow for change. If you start telling yourself that just because something happened once or twice or even 10 times does not mean that it has to happen again. Think about your own actions. You see, just because you messed up one thing doesn't mean that you're going to mess up every time. Look at athletes. Athletes win less races than they lose. But if they started telling themselves that they can't win, then they would never win. If they told themselves that the possibility did not exist, they wouldn't win. And so that's kind of where we put ourselves when we start thinking that we are not capable of changing, or that other people are not capable of changing. A simple example is people who say they can't do math or they don't like math. By saying that, they perpetuate it. You see, because it's law of attraction. Whatever you think about, whatever you say, that is what you're going to end up manifesting. So be careful when you start thinking that patterns that you've experienced before are going to repeat themselves over and over again. One of the patterns that I see people talking about a lot is dating. I don't want to be on a dating app because I had a bad experience, or I don't want to go on another date because it didn't work out the first 10 times. Well, guess what? It might be that the 11th time you might have a different experience. But if you go on the 11th date with the mindset that they're all the same, then that is what you are manifesting, because that is what you are thinking and giving your energy to. So stop thinking that just because one thing happens the one time, that is going to happen over and over again. All right. Last one. Last one is about action. I know that a lot of people, when they discover law of attraction, they feel as if no action is involved. But action is very much involved, because it's inspired action. So if a thought comes, do this now, you should do it right away. So as a result of understanding this, I have become someone who does not procrastinate at all. When the idea pops, I act on it right away. And because of that, I have started trusting the guidance that comes from within, and I've started trusting myself, right? So take action. If the voice inside you says, don't eat this, then don't eat it. If the voice inside you says, call that person, call that person. Because there's something in there for you. Law of attraction is guiding you towards the things that are right for you. But if you don't listen to that voice in your head, sometimes the voice in your head will say, pick up this book. Sometimes the voice in your head will say, buy this. And hasn't it happened to you that you saw something and the voice said, pick it up or bring it home, and you did, and then the next thing you know, you needed it, right? Because that voice will always guide you. There are times that this thing has happened to me a lot, is that I'm leaving the house and I've closed the door, and then the voice in my head says, oh, you forgot something. And then I go back in, because I know that the voice is guiding me, that I needed to do something and I haven't done it. So the more you trust that voice, that's your sixth sense, that's your guidance system talking to you. That's the universe telling you what you need to do. You've got to stop ignoring that voice and start acting on it. So I hope that this is helpful, and I hope that giving up these 4 things is going to set you up for success in your life. Love you all lots. Thank you for coming. Please support my channel by subscribing, leaving a comment, and if you think it appropriate, share this video with someone you care about. Bye for now.